Good afternoon and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Actually, it's still morning, so there you go. I stand corrected. Enough. Hope you guys are well. I hope all is going swimmingly in your world. Just finished work, come home, been on early shifts, so that means going to bed early, getting up at the crack of dawn. It's all a bit tiring, but anyway, it is what it is. So I thought I've got the place to myself, so I'm going to do a quick review. Now, the wonderful people at Aroma Concepts have sent me some perfumes to get through. So originally I was going to do a double review of two perfumes from the Ministry of Oud collection from Paris Corner. Now they're two really rather good ones. I'll show you the first one, which is called Thailand Oud in Cairo. Quite a complicated name, and I do love these bottles. The presentation's amazing. But this is going to warrant its own review. And the second one, which I was going to do the joint review because they're both quite oody, is called Strictly Oud. And this one certainly needs its own review. So what I was going to do is obviously try and do them both, but it's not right. So I will be devoting today purely to Strictly Oud. Now, when I was chatting to my contact at Aroma Concepts, who's a wonderful chap, loves his perfume, he was sort of saying, oh, I don't know about this one, it's a bit animalic. And I was like, send it down. So he sent me the bottle to do the review, and I've kind of fallen in love with it. In fact, I've got quite a few of these Ministry of Oud perfumes from Paris Corner now that Aroma have sent down, and there are reviews of all of them up there. But this is my favourite. Even more so than Greatest or in the Royal Oud, this is by far my favourite. And I think it's possibly the best one they've made as well, especially in terms of, they're all inspirations. And I think in terms of getting close to what they're inspired by, I think this one absolutely nails it. So what we'll do now is we'll have a quick look at this one. We'll have a quick look at what it's inspired by, how much it costs, how you can get it, who can wear it, where it's going to be suitable for, what's in it, what it smells like, and whether you should give it a go or not. So, Ministry of Oud, Strictly Oud. Okay, first and foremost, to understand this perfume properly, we need to talk about the perfume that it's inspired by. And it's inspired by one of the most expensive perfumes out there at the moment. And it's called The Night by Frédéric Malle. Now, the nose behind it was actually Dominique Ropignon, and it came out in 2014. It's a notorious fragrance for a lot of reasons. If you go back to some of my earlier videos, I do talk about it a little bit, I think in the Oud Maliki, Chopard's Oud Maliki video, because at that particular point in my sort of fragrance adventure, I wasn't that au fait with Hindi or Indian Oud. It kind of was a bit, whoa, I didn't really get it. And since then I've kind of discovered Oud, and I've spent a lot of time wearing Oud, and I've chucked myself into the world of Oud, and I absolutely love it now. But The Night, okay, so when it came out in 2014, it created quite a stir because it's one of the few Western perfumes that uses an unbridled, realistic oud, a real Indian oud. Now, Indian oud, or is often known as Hindi oud, is sort of traditionally the more challenging of from the oud family, shall we say. It's often barnyardy, a bit skanky, a little bit animalic. Sometimes it can be called fecal or blue cheesy or something like that. And what The Night does is it celebrates that. It pairs this intense Indian oud with a beautiful rose and a little bit of amber as it develops. What you'll get is a very challenging oudy opening that you've got to really be into oud to appreciate or to even enjoy. Then the rose kind of steps up and carries you on this warm, sort of spicy journey. The perfume itself is absolutely beautiful, but there's a massive problem with it. If you wanted to try it, you can go in store. Le Centres have it. I think they have it at Harrods. Anywhere that sort of the high-end niche stores that carry the Frédéric Malle collection will have a bottle of The Night. And generally, sales assistants are kind of quite happy for you to have a spray of it because it's quite unique. There's very few perfumes out there like it. I think Douceta Oud Infini, of which there's a full review of down below, is the closest I've come to. I think I actually prefer Oud Infini, in all honesty, because Douceta Oud Infini uses a lot of civet as well as the luscious rose and the oud. So I think Douceta Oud Infini is to me one I would rather go for. But again, it's a very expensive perfume. And it's a very challenging one. So it's not for those that aren't into oud. Now, the other massive problem with the night is, just to give you an idea, I did some checking on the old internet before the review. If you wanted to buy a 10 ml bottle or decant from Frederick Malle of the night, it would cost £190. That's just for 10 ml. If you want the full 100 ml bottle, that's £985.
Jesus Christ.
£985 for a 100 ml bottle of perfume. That is incredible. Now, I have a meagre financial lifestyle like most of us. There is no way on earth I would spend £985 on a 100 ml bottle of perfume. Could you imagine that? You know, my wife comes in from work and is like, "How was your day?" "Yeah, it was really, really good. I just dropped £1,000 on a bottle of perfume." Jeepers! She would go ballistic. And, you know, I couldn't warrant, I wouldn't ever spend that kind of money on a perfume. If I won the lottery tomorrow, would I buy it? Well, probably. But it would be begrudgingly. How can you pay £1,000 for a bottle of perfume? That just... To me, you know, and I really appreciate perfume. I love perfume. You know, it makes me incredibly happy and all the rest of it. But the guilt that comes with spending £1,000 on a bottle of perfume, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I really wouldn't. Even if I was stupidly wealthy, I would really struggle. But the fact it's in production and people buy it means that there are, you know, people out there that have got that kind of income to chuck £1,000 at a bottle of perfume. Sadly, I'm not one of them. And as I say, if I won the lottery, I don't think I ever would be one of them. But it's a beautiful perfume. It's very, very challenging. The oud is very realistic. So, shall we find out how the Ministry of Oud, Strictly Oud, fares up against it? Well, let's get into it. Now, I am wearing this. I've had a shower since I've come home from work and I've applied this. So I'll apply it a little bit more now for the purposes of the review. Now, bearing in mind, the original was basically saying it's got Indian oud, Turkish rose and amber. So, you know, there's not a lot of notes to talk about. And I'm not that fussed about note listings for inspirations or things like that, because we know full well what they're trying to smell like. So how they achieve it, I don't really think is that important. But I will say this has got Turkish rose, saffron, it's got some oud, a little incense and some sandalwood effectively. But let's see how it smells. I mean, I know how it smells, but straight off the bat, you know this perfume's not mucking about. But what it does that's slightly different to the night, when you spray the night, and I've sprayed this, trust me, many, many times. In fact, every time I go to a store that sells it, and that has actually ruined quite a few smelling sessions when I've been out and about, because it kind of dominates everything. But what you get with this one is you get a very, very rich, deep rose. That's the first thing you notice straight away. It's boom, it's rose. And then minutes, maybe even seconds, that Indian oud starts to appear. So £35 for a 100 ml bottle, and it's an EDP. So there's no way that they're going to be using the same materials as the original. But how does it smell? This is what we're here for. This is the important thing. It smells absolutely bloody amazing. It just nails it. It has this luscious, deep rose, and then the Barney oud comes in, this realistic smelling Indian oud. It just pops up and it screams at you, and it's like, whoa, yes, this is it, we're in. We've got finally a really affordable inspiration of the night, and it works so well. In fact, in some respects, it works a little better, and I'll tell you for why. With the original, the oud is all-encompassing. With this one, it pops up and lets itself be known, but it doesn't completely take over. It's there. It's certainly there, all right, and it hangs around and it influences the perfume as the perfume dies down and goes through its journey. It just doesn't overtake it. So what you'll have is, for the first sort of 40 minutes, is this really, really strong oudy rose, and it is a real oudy one. But the rose is luscious, it's deep, it's rich, and it's very red, and it's kind of velvety in your mind as you smell it. And then as the perfume carries on and warms up, the oud dries off. It dies off, rather, not dries off. And it stops being as dominant, and the rose just kind of opens up like a rose, and it flourishes on your skin. Then the warmth comes into it, and obviously the other notes start to appear. You do get a kind of a light hint of incense. It's not a big incensey fragrance, though. And that's there, and it gives you this lovely, warm, sandalwoody dry down. But I think in some respects this is actually more wearable than the night, because the oud, once it's faded, it leaves a trail across the perfume. It doesn't suddenly, you know, it's not like grabbing the headlines all the time. It then becomes much more about the rose. And after about an hour, you could wear this to work. I wouldn't for 1 minute dream of wearing this in an office if I've just sprayed it, because that oud, it's not for Western noses unless, you know, you really, really appreciate oud. If I wore this around my wife, she would be mortified. She would be looking at me like, why? You're going too far. You know, it wouldn't be good. And it wouldn't be fair on your colleagues either, because that Indian oud is a really tough love if you don't love oud. You know, you really have to acclimatise yourself to it. So I wouldn't suggest wearing this to work to straight off with. But after an hour, you've got a really deep and exciting rose fragrance that is gorgeous. It's very, very wearable. And the oud just adds to it. It doesn't dominate it. So you've got an excellent perfume. Longevity is superb. I get at least 8 hours of noticeable wearing. So it's above your skin and it's projecting a little. There's some sillage coming off it. So performance is fantastic. It does last an incredibly long time as a skin scent after that. So you're looking at least 12 hours of noticeable performance. So, you know, it's an absolute bargain. Now, as I say, the original, £1,000 for 100 mils, Strictly £35 for 100 mils. Obviously, because we have a relationship with Aroma Concepts, they've given you guys a 10% off. So it's QS10 will give you a 10% discount. I might have got that wrong, so Rich will put up the correct discount code there. We don't get anything for it. It's just a way of passing something on to you guys so you can enjoy this. But honestly, it's not a masculine or a feminine fragrance. It's just a fragrance. If you love a rosy oud fragrance, this is definitely for you. It's absolutely fantastic. And because it's a classic, it's ageless. You know, saying that, I think younger thrusters may struggle a little bit with it because it's a really, really heavy rose fragrance. But if you're slightly more mature, or if you're a young thruster with oodles and oodles of confidence, then go for it. It's amazing. But you must like oud. I am seriously, seriously impressed with this one. It's fantastic. So there you have it. That's my take on Strictly Oud by the Ministry of Oud from Paris Corner. And big thanks to Aroma Concepts for arranging that to come to me to make this video. Talking of that, obviously I'm going to be filming this over the next couple of days, and this is a take on Xerjoff's Luxor, which is very, very nice. I have a sample of Luxor, so if I can find it, I'll do a side-by-side. But yeah, I'm impressed with that. And then another one that I've got coming up from that is from Cadlage, and that's called Oud Pour Rouge. This is a really exciting one as well. So you've got those to look forward to if this doesn't slate your thirst for reviews. And I've got a really, really good Aventus video coming up as well. So there you have it. Thank you very much for your time. So from me and Rich, many thanks as always. Stay safe, and we will see you on the next video. Cheers, thanks, and bye.